wide variety of other national media outlets. Frank is currently a professor at NY, New York University, where he has a course in Black Lives Matter movement, and it's been widely acknowledged as the first college course of its kind. He's also an active member of the Montclair Alumni Chapter. I would like to present to many for the first time, as well as very phenomenal. Let's stay on the feet. There's some very, very good images. He comes to join our young men, Brother Frank Robertson.
This many people of color in one space to celebrate the achievements of our young people. I just want to give God some praise and give ourselves a round of applause, right? So when we start there, give ourselves a round of applause. There are a lot of places for you to be on this Saturday afternoon. The fact that you chose to be here says something great about you. I do want to start by giving special thanks to all the alumni chapters that made today's event possible. The brothers of the New Rochelle White Plains, Bronx alumni, Brooklyn, Long Island, Queens alumni, New York alumni chapters. Let's give it up for all the guidewire directors. Can all the guidewire directors stand and recognize and run the programs? Can we have you stand? Thank you, brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, these brothers represent the very best of service in the public interest. We want to thank them. So the brothers told Brother Sean said, keep it short now. Don't give the Al Sharpton speech. He said, do it 15 minutes, you got 15 minutes. So this is what I want to talk to you. Young men, today I want to talk to you about legacy. I want to talk to you about legacy. What does that word mean? Legacy, leadership, excellence, achievements. Let's see. Commitment and you. Say that again. Legacy, leadership, excellence. Leadership, excellence, godliness, achievements, commitments, and you. There you go. I forgot achievement. Right? We want to talk about what your leadership is, because at the end of the day, your legacy is, because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, your legacy will be determined by that. The quality of your leadership, the quality of your excellence, the quality of your godliness, the quality of your achievements, the quality of your commitment to others, and your quality to yourself. But what I've learned in my journey is that when we talk about legacy, your legacy is built on how closely connected you stay to what I call your WWW. What you stand for, what you stand on, what you stand with. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. What you stand with, what you stand on, what you stand for. Number one, what you stand with. Or I should say, who you stand with. Who you surround yourself with for the next 4 years as you begin your college journey will determine who you will become. That's right, if you want to know where a man is headed, look to where his friends are right now. And so what I'm saying to you, young men, is that not everyone is going to be able to go with you on this next leg of the journey. Right? Not everybody's going to be able to go with you. There might be some homeboys you got to leave behind. Might be some old classmates you got to leave behind. Might be some old girlfriends you got to leave behind. At every level of your elevation, you're going to have to leave some people behind. You know, I have the honor and the pleasure of going to different universities around the country speaking to young people. Sometimes I'm in 3 or 4 cities in 1 week. And so I take a lot of flights, a lot of airport rides. And what I've learned going from airport to airport, going to flight, is that baggage is expensive. Right? Well, how many people out there know that baggage is not only expensive on Delta Airlines and American Airlines, but baggage is expensive in our lives. Right? So baggage is expensive. Kappa, I want you to do me a favor, tap your neighbor on the shoulder. Tap your Kappa brother on the shoulder and say, check your luggage. Check your luggage, young men. You want to check the company that you keep. Check your baggage. Surround yourself with the right people. What are you standing with? Who are you standing with? But when I say who are you standing with, I also want you to realize that you are now standing with a global network. As Kappa leaders, you are connected to men all around the world. I met somebody in Paris a couple months ago, graduate from the Kappa League program. You are now part of a global network. That's who you're standing with. Remember your first level, who you're standing with. Next, I want you to remember what you're standing on. You are standing on the shoulders of giants. Right? The writer James Baldwin used to say to Nina Simone, your crown has already been paid for. All you gotta do is put it on. And so part of what needs to happen in this next moment of your life is when you get to these college campuses in the fall, I want you to go on those campuses like soldiers, not like kings, knowing that you stand on the shoulders of royalty. Your crown has already been paid for. All you gotta do is put it on. You know, people often ask me, say, I don't get all of this Black Lives Matter stuff. What is it about? And I always say, for me, Black Lives Matter is important. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. When I say what you're standing on, you have to also stand on the acknowledgement that not everybody made it as far as you have. That there were some people who came before you who didn't get to get this far. And so for us, when we say Black Lives Matter is a prayer. It's a remembrance prayer. It's a remembrance prayer for Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice and all the men we don't know. It's a remembrance prayer also for our grandmothers and our great-great-grandmothers, women who wash clothes and clean dishes and raise other people's children so that one day you might see the light of freedom. Right? That's what you're standing on. So in this next moment in your journey, you got to recognize that you are standing on solid rock. Your crown has already been paid for. That's what you're standing on. Lastly, I want you to pay attention as you build your legacy to that third W, which is, what are you standing for? What are you standing for? This moment in American history explains to us the importance of being willing to stand for something. Nelson Mandela said that in times of injustice, if you are neutral in times of injustice, you are standing on the side of the oppressor. Right? Which means there is no such thing as neutrality. People say, Brother Frank, I like you, but you're just too political, man. You're too political. I'm not political. And I say, well, saying that you're not political is in and of itself a political statement. Right? And so, in this moment, it's important for you to stand for something. You got to stand for something. Pick a fight. Pick a calling that you want to spend your life fighting for. We need more soldiers on the battlefield of justice. Whether it be the fight for minimum wage, or the fight for Black lives, or the fight for breast cancer awareness, fight for women's rights, whatever the fight is, be willing to stand for something. Next, I want you to remember that, and this is connected to what you're standing for, well-behaved men rarely make history. Well-behaved men rarely make history, that you've actually got to be willing to be a problem. Let me tell you a story right quick. Growing up, I was considered a problem child. You probably can't tell now because now I'm kind of like nerdy and laid back, but growing up, I was considered a problem child. And it really didn't have anything to do with me. It had to do with the circumstances of my upbringing. So I was born in Hollis, Queens. Shout out to Queens. Queens in the building. Born in Hollis, Queens, 205 to 104. Same block as Run DMC. Everybody else, growing up, everyone knew that my father was one of the biggest drug dealers in Queens, in Hollis. And to top it off, not only was my father one of the biggest drug dealers, my mother was one of the biggest drug users. And we know we used to call women like that back in the day. Right? So here I had a father who was a drug dealer, a mother who was a drug user. And so I grew up feeling like I was a problem. Right? My family made me feel like a problem because I was always moving from home to home. My school made me feel like a problem. I was in the class for the special problem kids, and society made me feel like a problem. Now, at 34 years old, as a college professor, 4 degrees, Ivy League affiliation, I realized being a problem is the biggest lesson I had. That if you want to stand for something, you got to be willing to be a problem. That I'm clear, when I study history, all of the great men were willing to be a problem. They were willing to be troublemakers. When I say be a problem, I mean be willing to disrupt the status quo. You see, Malcolm X, he was a problem. Martin Luther King, he was a problem. Nat Turner was a problem. Frederick Douglass was a problem. Elder Watson Diggs was a problem. Colin Kaepernick today, he's a problem for the NFL. Barack Obama, he was considered a problem, right? That if you want to write your names in the history books, you got to be willing to be a problem, young man. Look at your neighbor and say, I was born to be the problem. They're a little shy today. They don't speak. It's okay. They said, listen, let's just go on with the show. You were born to be the problem. Lastly, I want to tell you this. I want to tell you, don't confuse success with greatness. I want all of you to be great men, but I don't want you to confuse success with greatness. See, part of the problem with my generation, part of the problem I think with the millennial generation is that we confuse success with greatness. Right? That success is about individual achievement, whereas greatness is about communal impact. Success is measured by how much you have, whereas greatness is measured by how much other people have because of you. Right? When we look back in history, and also I will say this, success is about the biblical notions of greatness, right? What is greatness in Matthew 23? He or she greatest among you shall be your servant. What is the quality of your commitment to service in the public interest? That's a question that's going to hang over your life. That's the question that I want all of you to engage with. That success is not about individual achievement, it's about what are you willing to leave behind. Another way of saying that is that it's not about what you have, it's about what you're willing to give up. We look at the great men of history, these were men who were willing to give up a lot of stuff. Look at what Colin Kaepernick has been willing to give up. Look at what Martin was willing to give up. Look what Malcolm was willing to give up. What are you willing to give up? That will define whether or not you're going to be not just a successful man, but a great man. So what I want to say to you in short is that if you remember those 5 things, I want you to remember that don't confuse success with greatness. You were born to be a problem. History rarely remembers well-behaved men. And last but not least, those 3 WWs. Your what are you standing with? What are you standing on? What are you standing for? You remember those 5 things, and I promise you, you are on your way to a legacy of illustrious achievement. God bless Kappa. God bless Kappa.
All right, let's give this brother a round of applause. Let's give Brother Frank Roberts a round of applause.